Thank you for joining, and congratulations. Congratulations for making time out to be here. My name is Oladipupo Clement. I'm extremely passionate about seeing people create and retain wealth. And today, I've been given a simple assignment. I'm going to make it as practical as possible. I typically would love to illustrate on the board and all of that, but I'll try and use a piece of paper to do my illustrations. One thing you will take out of this place is that you'll be able to achieve your targets, and even surpass them now and always if you follow the instructions. Now, it's a conditional outcome if you follow the instructions. So I want to share with you on how to achieve your sales target now and always. How to achieve your sales targets now and always. I will tell you this. There are very few problems in your business, in your life, and in your family that you won't be able to resolve when you know how to make sales. When you become a rainmaker essentially is someone who knows how to generate revenue, how to generate sales. That's a rainmaker. When you know how to generate revenue and generate sales, there are very few problems in your life, in your family, and in your business that you won't be able to solve. So this subject that we want to examine is something that I hold very dear. It's a system and it's a process that I developed several years ago, and it has turned a lot of people into multi-millionaires, and you can be the next. I began my sales journey year 2000, June 2000, and with no prior experience up until that time. I recorded some measure of progress, and then later on I trained in an investment banking firm where we played primarily in the capital and then in the money markets, and that launched me into another level altogether when it comes to the subject of sales. And so whatever it is I want to share with you is on the back of not just an experienced salesperson, but also producing and leading people who are also making mega millions in business. So I want you to take this following instruction very, very seriously. So let me tell you the first simple step. So I have limited time, and then I will take in questions. That's the instruction I have. Number one is, please take these things to heart. The things I want to share with you is a secret of peak performing realtors, peak performing business and career people, especially if you are in sales. So if you pay attention to these four things, you will know what to correct. Every time you are not making enough sales, just look at these four things. And if you connect these four things effectively, you will always be making sales. Okay? It's a very powerful principle that's never failed me. Number one is, how much money do you want to make? This is so critical. This is so important. How much money do you want to make? There is, for those of you who did a bit of geometry in mathematics, or you understand this concept around Venn diagram, right? For those of us in business, you want to find a healthy balance between your passion, the problem that people have, and money and payment. Passion, problem, payment. You need to find a healthy balance. When I started my entrepreneurial journey, especially when I decided to go full scale, I focused more on my passion, and I wasn't paying attention so much to the problem and to the money. In fact, I de-emphasized the money, but it wasn't so long before I started feeling frustrated. It was like, all this effort is not counting for anything. So, and then we also don't want to over-focus on money, and then you are just doing it for money, because somewhere along the line, you realize that the greatest source of your fulfillment is not really the money you make, it's really the impact you make. But you want to be rewarded. You don't want to go unrewarded for doing something that is making a difference. So you want to solve problem for a healthy profit or healthy return. And so there has to be that balance. So how much money do you really want to make? Now, this is not a a game of covetousness. This is not a game of, greed. That's not what I promote. Anybody who knows me know that money doesn't control me, doesn't influence my own thoughts and decisions and actions, right? So it's important, but you need a healthy balance. So you don't want to go to the too much extreme of the passion, or to the extreme of money, or to the extreme of, so you want a healthy balance. That's why I mentioned the Venn diagram. So for those of you who did a bit of geometry, you'll be familiar with what a Venn diagram. About 3 concentric circles, and then they all overlap each other. So you just the healthy balance spot in business, right? The spot is that place where you are passionate about what you are doing. You are solving critical problems for your end users or your customers, like Mr. Francis just shared with us, and then you are earning good income. So how much money do you want to make? Very, very important. This is too important to ignore. Now, over the years, in coaching and mentoring business people, realtors, and all that, I've realized that when I ask people how much money they want to make, I hear a lot of bogus figures. I want to make 100 million, 500 million. You just hear numbers that people call out that they don't even believe themselves. Okay, they don't believe it. They don't even believe they deserve it. From the very moment they mention the number, their faith collapsed. So I had to come up with a framework to determine what you want to earn would differ from what another person wants to earn. Because you are different phases in your life. Your realities are not exactly the same. So how much do you want to earn? I came up with a simple framework. That simple framework came from my understanding of what I call a seductive goal setting. And I'm going to break it down in very simple formats. Now, every human being is motivated by 2 things. Every human being, including you and anybody you would ever meet. Every human being, as long as a human being, is motivated by 2 things. You are motivated either by pain, or you are motivated either by pleasure. Pain is the punishment, the penalty of not achieving a particular goal or fulfilling a particular obligation. The pleasure is the reward for really achieving that goal. So you are either running away from something or you are running towards something. So everybody you see that is in business that is not making it, they've not defined what will go wrong. They've not defined what will go right. So what will go right is the pleasure. What will go wrong is the pain. You have to be very, very clear in that. So how do we bring it down to how much money do I need to make? So turn the pain and pleasure, turn it into aspiration and obligations. So the obligations here are the things that will go wrong. Are you getting it? So get a simple sheet like this. A simple sheet, or you divide it into 2. On one end, you see aspiration. On the other end, you see obligations. The obligations are the things that will go wrong if you don't fulfill them. All right? We want to evaluate. We want to arrive at how much you want to really make. If I tell you go and produce 1 billion and I don't connect it to either of these 2, you will never accomplish it. It's been proven time and again that most times when people set goals, one of the major is among several other factors. All right, many of us are familiar with the SMART way of setting goals, right? SMART meaning is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. That is the acronym, right? As valid as that is, I've come to realize that no matter how smart your goals are, if it's not seductive enough, if it does not woo you to perform, if it does not compel you to perform, you aren't going to achieve those goals. So then what exactly is the way forward? List out all the things that can go wrong if you don't fulfill them. Children's school fees, or even if you two are in school, you write it out. House rents, if you are still a tenant. If you have aged parents or grandparents that need Medicare that you provide for, you put it there, Medicare, and if it's a family member, maybe your child or whatever, you put it there because if you are not able to provide those things, these are the things that compels you to perform. You see, when some people say, oh, you need motivation, I slept to 2:20 a.m. and I'm already ready for another dose. For you to need an alarm to wake up is you don't have motivation. There's nothing driving you. There are some of us who we know what is pursuing us. We also know what we are chasing after. If you don't define that, you will not make a mark in this life. And I tell you this with every sense of humility. I don't mean to, disturb your sense of your sensibilities. I just needed to mention that so that you identify what will go wrong. Those are the things that you need to. For example, if they send your children away from school because they didn't pay school fees. I've been there before, where because we couldn't pay school fees, we were sent back home, right? Or the school fees wasn't paid on time. We were sent back home. And it happened repeatedly too many times. These are some of the things that damage the self-esteem of a child, where they can't stand where their mates are standing because they are not in class on account of the fact that their parents couldn't pay their school fees. Now, by the way, when I think about that alone, it's enough motivation. If you think about that, what does it do for you? So what will go wrong if you are not able to pay? They will send your children. That can be very embarrassing. So when all their mates are in school, they will be at home playing and all of that. You don't want that to happen. That will compel you to perform, isn't it? If you don't pay your house rent, at some point, the landlord did not build the house for charity. They will give you quick notice sooner or later. And so you don't want that to also happen, because that can be extremely embarrassing, not just for you, but for your entire family, for entire household. So you see what can go wrong when you don't meet certain obligations. So you list out all those obligations in monetary terms. That's the way I do it. You list them out in monetary terms. House rent, 5 million. School fees, 10 million. Medicare, 2 million. Food, groceries, 20 million. You just put it there. All right. When you list all these things out, it has a way your brain, you'll be clear about exactly what you need to accomplish, what you need to give in order for you to get what you are looking for as well. So that's very important. You can do this as a person. If you are just still single and you don't have too much obligation, you can do it as a person. You can do it as a family person, as a family man or woman. You can do it as a business. Okay? You can do it as a business. This is critical. So as a business, you list your staff salary. You list there are variable costs, there are fixed costs in your business. You list them out. What are the things what number must we do every month to meet all these obligations? Otherwise, you will enter trouble. You list them. If you are owing, also include the debts that you are owing. This is so important because you need that to motivate and to inspire you. You see, a lot of people set goals, and at the point you are setting those goals, it's not generating any energy. It's not generating any impetus for you to perform. That is what actually is lacking for a lot of people, right? So when people are waiting for external influence, external motivation, if you create this type of thing, it generates for you internal motivation. Okay? So let me not belabor that. I hope you got that very perfectly. So the same way you do for your obligations, list out your aspirations too. Maybe you want to buy a second car. Maybe you want to buy a brand new car. Maybe you have been using Tokumbo for far too long. You want a brand new car. Maybe you want a second car for your spouse. Right? Maybe you want your children to study abroad. Maybe you want to go for your PhD, for your master's, whatever it is. Okay, you can listen there. You want to go for a family vacation, or you want to build a house, or you want to have a second house that will be giving you extra income, or you list it there. Now, note this: the initial goal, how much money you want to make is not a 5-year money that I'm talking about. It's 1 year, the first year. Are you following what I'm talking about? So you want to estimate how much money you require to fulfill the obligation and to achieve your aspiration for that year. This is so important because if what you are stating is for 5 years, we live in a VUCAD world and too many things are happening at the same time. And so you may need to constantly be adjusting your plan as you make progress. Yes, there's a need for you to have a 5-year plan, 20-year plan, 30-year plan, and all of those things. But let us start with 1 year. When you know how to achieve your goals for the first year, then you can flesh it out for the second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on and so forth. Okay? So when you list out all the things that can go wrong and all the things that will go right when you achieve your goals for the first 1 year. So don't list out things that can only be accomplished in 2 years or in 4 years or in 10 years. List out only the things that needs to be done this year. Okay? This year alone. That's what I'm talking to you about. And then sum it up. So if everything here, so I'll just give an illustration just for ease of calculation and for the purpose of this class. So let's assume that everything you want to accomplish that has to do with your obligations is 7 million. Okay? And everything that you need to do that has to do with your aspiration is 3 million. So add it all up together. That gives you 10 million. Okay? So 10 million then becomes the money you want to make. The first question is, how much money do I want to make? So this is a question of income. The question of income. So if you are not clear about that, it will be difficult to build all of that thing. So you need to be very clear, crystal clear about what you really want to make. Number 2 is, how much sale do I need to make to achieve that income? In other words, what value are you going to give in exchange for the income? Listen carefully. Money is a reward for solving problems. Money is a reward for meeting needs, adding value. So the more problems you solve for people, the more money you make. The more value you add to people, the more money you make. So when we talk about sales is essentially value, is solution to problems. All right? So a lot of times when you don't see sales as solution, then you are probably involved in something that is ungodly or illegal or illicit. Okay? So sales is value. So when we are saying how much sales do you need to make to achieve that income, what we're essentially saying is, how much value are you going to give in exchange for that money? This is so important. All right? If you take nothing to the market, you get nothing in return. Okay? So that's very, very important. So if 10 million in step 1 is the income based on my obligations and my aspirations, then how much sale? So let's assume, for ease of calculation also, let's assume that for every sale that you make for Poshfield, or you earn 10%. Now, it could be more, it could be less, but let's assume it's just 10% for ease of calculation, just for this purpose alone. What that suggests is that you need to generate 100 million worth of sale, or you need to contribute 100 million worth of value out there to get that, because 100 million multiplied by 10%, or 10% of 100 million gives you 10 million. Is that clear? 10% of 100 million gives you 10 million. So it means that if I bring in 100 million worth of sales and I get my 10% commission, I earn 10 million there. So how much money do I want to make? We look at the obligations and the aspirations, what will go wrong, what will go right. And then you release them out in monetary terms, you arrive at that, okay? And then the next thing is, how much sales will fetch me that income? This is a question of sales or value. The first one is a question of income. The second one is a question of value. Number 3, step 3, is how many products do I need to sell that will fetch me that income? Listen to me carefully. I want to make some very important statements. Number 1 is this: products are conveyors. They convey value, right? People don't buy product, they buy what it does for them. Okay? So you want to be very crystal clear about the problem that your product is solving. You see, everybody you meet, okay, I'm not teaching sales, but let me just teach a bit of sales here. Everybody you meet, no matter who you meet, has a current reality, has a desired reality, and they have certain criteria and obstacles that is preventing them from moving from their current reality to their desired reality. Your job, my job, is to show them how my product or how our product connect their current reality to their desired reality. This is so important. Every time you can help them to find a path of least resistance using your products between where they are and where they would love to be, oh my goodness, your sales will become like water for you. I just gave you that as a bonus. So in a nutshell, products, how many products? So if, for example, you sell products in hundreds of millions, so let's say a house is selling for 100 million. It means all you need to do to earn 10 million for that year is one house. Now, if each of those houses are selling for maybe 50 million, means you need to sell 2 houses. If each of those houses are selling for 20 million, 25 million, that is, you need to sell 4 houses. In a whole year, all you need is 25 is to sell 4 units. Okay? So that's essentially what we're talking about. So the question of income, the question of sales or value, and then the question of products. So you want to make sure that your product connects clearly, to the problem of your customers or your prospects or the market. So let me now establish that. So that's the first 3 steps. Now, if you get these first 3 steps right, you are on the path, but you are not yet there. Now, if you get step 1, step 2, step 3, it's still about you and your business. Until you connect that to the step 4, you will not make any money. And that makes step 4 extremely crucial, extremely important. What's the step 4? Step 4 is who need what you are selling. This is the question of people. Now, this is a real estate company, and so we are talking real estate here. But regardless of the industry in which you play, you are primarily in the business of people. And Mr. Francis said it earlier, those who buy from you and those who sell with you. So these are the category of people you need to evaluate. So let me give you a simple framework that will help you. We call it in marketing, it's a marketing jargon we use, but it's a very important concept. It's called ICP, your ideal customer persona. Ideal customer persona. And one of the ways by which you need to define who your ideal customer is, right? Because every effective marketing does 2 things. It pre-qualifies people and disqualifies people. If your marketing is bringing everybody, it's not effective. It must let some people go. It must bring in some people in. So when you hear people stating who this is for, they are simply saying it's not for some people too. Every time you say it is for this category of people, then it means that it does not belong to some category of people. So you need to define. But how do you define your ideal customer persona? There are several things that can help you. One of them, which I'm just going to say because of our time, is this. Look into your past in the last 2 to 3 years. Who has been your best customer? Use that person's details like name, gender, age, income brackets, demography, in terms of geography, in terms of... So if all your customers are international, or if most of your ideal customers and the ones that have profited your business the most are women, then narrow down. If most of your customers, so you define the characteristics. They've been in career, they're high-paying people. You define it. If they are students, define it. If they are C-suite executives, define it. Now, why this is so important is because it will also inform your messaging, your communication. So once you spotlight one person that you have done business with, there are many of such people in the market. So all your messaging, all your communication, all your engagements, right, will now be with that type of a person. All right. Now, so when you are putting out content, especially online, you are speaking to that person. You are speaking to the pain of that person. So you need to now go do a lot more research, right? So everything that happens with that person is likely going to be happening with people like that person. So because listen, it's not about having 5,000 customers. So you can have 100 customers and be doing turnover billions. I'm telling you the truth. It depends on who you are selling to. A lot of people want people at the upper echelon, but you don't attract who you are not. And so that's why you need to become a superior version of yourself today, tomorrow than you are today. Otherwise, you will not attract that. A lot of times people would want those type of people in their circle and all of those things. But are you ready to pay the price? Right? Because those people too are looking for value. They're not just looking for anybody. So for a start, for some of us, ask yourself, who are the people I can best reach? Okay? So that's the second dimension to it. Who are the best people I can best reach that can afford what we are selling? Okay? And then begin to build your messaging around that. Now, the second corollary to who need what you are selling is who know the people that need what you are selling. The reason this is important is because for real estate is not shirt, it's not clothes, right? It's not shoe, it's not bag. Yeah, I know there are premium bags, luxury bags, and luxury shoes here and there, but it's still it's incomparable with real estate, as it were. So for that reason, before people part with their hard-earned funds, they need some introduction. They need some level of evaluate your credibility, your authority, right, before they make buying decisions. So it's not a decision they take carelessly. It's a decision they would need to take thoughtfully, right? So for that reason, you need to form alliance. In some instances, you need to partner or collaborate with other people, right, to be able to bridge the gap. People who are already rendering complementary services may need so people who are serving your ideal customer, you need to collaborate with them. That's why you see a company like Chicken Republic collaborating with Mobile. In America, you find McDonald's in some kind of areas and all of those. It's partnership, right? So look out for that and then use that to build. Once you get step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 together, then you will always be able to achieve. So what you then do is just make sure that you are continuing to populate the number of people that can buy. A lot of people don't want to put in the work. There is daily grind. Daily. This is a daily grind. This is daily work. So if you are not ready, if you want to just be doing once in a while, then you're not ready. So you need to be visible. Like I saw something there when Mr. Francis was sharing. You need to know and you need to be known. So I didn't play that game well from the beginning. So I'm a powerful salesperson. Once I talk with you and I'm able to understand where you are, I will connect you to your desired reality. I will show you these simple steps to move you there. But how do I get more of those people? Was one thing that I did not master for a long time. Let me say this, that as important as sponsored ads are good for generating leads and all of those things, they are not really that profitable. So this is what I would recommend. Make sure that you are constantly producing and churning out content that speaks to your ideal customers. Either written, it can be written on LinkedIn, written on Twitter, on x.com, formerly Twitter, or in video formats, okay? All right, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all of those things. Because that's how you build connections with your ideal customer persona, okay? Once you start posting on Facebook, once you start doing that on TikTok and all of those things, once you start doing that, what now begins to happen is that you now notice that there are some content you posted that are performing or outperforming others organically. It is those ones that are performing organically well that you now sponsor, okay? Because sponsored ad is like flame, it's like fuel to flame, okay? It's like fuel to fire. If there is no fire, there's no point fueling flameless wood or whatever. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So to generate a lot more people that are your ideal customers, you want to make sure that you are putting out content from time to time. You could also have carousels, short banners, quotable quotes, inspirations, and all of that. And then make sure that you have a pipeline that funnels them. Time won't permit me to go into other things, but I believe that when we take questions, I might have further rescue concepts that I will share with you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Do we have questions? Please feel free to drop them.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you for an awesome and an amazing session. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my question is, for a rookie, how can a rookie develop, or what are the steps to acquiring high net worth individuals as clients?
All right. Thank you very much for that powerful question. That was exactly what I was talking about. For some of us, you attract who you are. You don't attract what you want. Okay? So which means you need a lot of investment in yourself. The number one investment you need to make is in yourself. And how do you make those investments? Reading, then association. So books, relationships. Books. So it was John Mason who said many, many years ago that you are the same person 5 years from now, except for two things. He said the books you read and the company you keep. So the books you read talks about information. The company you keep talks about your association. And it is this information plus association that determines your destination. Now, if you are reading and you are studying and developing yourself, what it means is that when you start establishing contact and networking with people, then you will have value to bring to the conversation. You have value to bring into the table, right? So you will not be the table, but you have value to bring to the table. I hope you understand what I mean. So one of the ways by which I've been able to build that over the years, because I have grown significantly. I mean, even me, sometimes I'm shocked at myself. Sometimes I wonder, how did I get to this point? How did I know this? When did I know this? Just as you cannot tell exactly when you grew an inch taller. You can't tell exactly when you grew an inch fatter. You just keep eating. You just keep eating and sleeping and all of that. You keep growing. That's how it happens. So growth is silent, right? But the things that you do to grow are things you do consistently. So you want to build 3 dimensions of relationship and network. You want to look out for people who are ahead of you. You want to look out for people who you can compare notes with and rub minds with. Then you're also looking for people that you can pour into. Okay? So when they are up there, you want to really relate with them. If you are a person of value, when you call out to say, I want to book an appointment, if you are the type of person that's visible online, when somebody Googles your name, they can see, because again, a lot of us we're not building our profile effectively, and we're not deliberate about it. You're not intentional about building your profile, right? So build your profile. The same way somebody's looking for a job in a multinational, very intentional with their profile, very, very intentional in their profile. In the same way, when you are building a business, you need to be very intentional about your profile, right? You need extremely important. So when somebody reads your profile, they should, okay, so even if they did not know you, but you send a message, you got their contact, maybe you went to a function and you met with them. So networking is a big part of sales, because see, people only buy from those they know, like, and trust. Until they know you, they don't have opportunity to like you, and until they like you, they don't have opportunity to trust you. And until they trust you, there will never be exchange of cash. So you want to build that relationship, you want to nurture those relationships, you want to network. So I go for those kind of programs. There are programs where the entry ticket alone defines the kind of people that will come there. Do you get what I'm making? So you need to be willing to pay for that, right? So on the way there, start focusing on the people you can best reach for now while you're aspiring. And then, so when you go for events with people like that, you establish relationship. So don't just attend events for the sake of consuming knowledge. Go for events, go for programs for the purpose of also networking. This is so important. You are 3 to 6 people away from your next major breakthrough. So somebody will know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And that's so powerful. So building relationships, is very, very important. So to do that, make sure you go for events, make sure you associate with, then make sure you network at those events. be willing to make payments for those type of events where you meet quality people. Yeah. I hope that
Thank
helps.
you, sir. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Osi, can you still hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you so very much, sir.